If you have ever found yourself standing at the gas pump or in the grocery checkout line with 3 days left until payday and a bank balance that makes your stomach drop, you have probably looked into cash advance apps to cover the gap. Among the sea of fintech tools claiming to save you from predatory overdraft fees, FloatMe comes up constantly, promising small, low-friction micro-advances without the strict credit requirements of traditional loans. But the real question every stressed consumer asks before downloading another app and handing over their sensitive banking information is surprisingly simple. Who can actually use FloatMe? Who gets turned away? And is it actually designed for your specific financial situation? To understand who can use FloatMe, you first have to understand what FloatMe actually is and what problem it was built to solve. Unlike traditional personal loans or even full-scale paycheck advance platforms that let you borrow hundreds or thousands of dollars, FloatMe operates in a very specific niche: small dollar micro-advances, commonly known as floats. New members generally qualify for amounts between $10 and $50, with existing members potentially qualifying for up to $100 over time based on their account usage and income patterns. If your credit history is damaged by past late payments, if you have a high debt-to-income ratio, or if you have a thin credit file with no established history at all, your credit profile will not prevent you from using FloatMe. The service completely bypasses FICO scores and instead focuses entirely on real-time cash flow and banking activity. So who meets the mandatory structural requirements to use FloatMe? First, you must be a United States citizen or permanent legal resident who is at least 18 years old. Second, you must possess a valid U.S. mobile phone number attached to a major carrier, an active email address, and a compatible mobile device, either iOS or Android, since the service functions exclusively through its mobile application. Third, you must hold a valid, supported U.S. debit card linked directly to your primary checking account. The core engine of FloatMe's eligibility process relies on connecting to your underlying checking account through secure financial aggregators like Plaid. This brings us to the income and banking rules that determine whether you can actually receive a float. To qualify for cash advances, you must have an active checking account that shows a consistent pattern of recurring direct deposits. Typically, FloatMe looks for a minimum of $150 in direct deposits per pay period over consecutive pay cycles. This requirement is built to ensure that when your scheduled repayment date arrives, your account will reliably receive incoming funds to cover the advance. This specific income structure makes FloatMe accessible to a wide variety of working people who are often marginalized by traditional financial institutions. Standard W-2 employees who receive regular biweekly, semi-monthly, or weekly paychecks are the primary demographic. However, because FloatMe evaluates algorithmic cash flow rather than requiring employer integration, meaning your boss does not need to partner with FloatMe for you to use it, gig workers, freelancers, and independent contractors can also qualify if their earnings flow into their linked checking account with reasonable regularity. Even individuals whose primary income stems from qualifying recurring benefits deposits can sometimes meet the threshold, provided the deposits meet the platform's minimum volume and frequency patterns. Despite its accessibility, there are clear boundaries regarding who cannot use FloatMe or who will be approved for the app but denied cash advances. You cannot use FloatMe if your income arrives exclusively via paper physical checks, cash deposits made at an ATM or teller, or peer-to-peer transfers from apps like Venmo, Cash App, or Zelle, because the algorithm cannot verify these as reliable. Recurring direct payroll deposits. Furthermore, savings accounts, money market accounts, prepaid cards, and business accounts are generally unsupported for cash advances. You must use a standard consumer checking account. Another common reason users find themselves unable to access advances is account health. FloatMe analyzes your average balance, recent spending behavior, and overdraft history. If your checking account frequently reflects a negative balance, has a history of failed transactions, or shows a high risk of immediate overdraft before your next payday, the algorithm may flag your account as ineligible until your cash flow stabilizes. Furthermore, FloatMe requires a recurring monthly membership fee, currently $4.99, which unlocks access to the financial tools, smart cash flow alerts, and the ability to request floats. Paying the membership fee is required to request advances, though paying the fee alone does not guarantee that your advance request will be approved, as approval is continuously calculated based on live bank data. The fear many users face when considering apps like FloatMe is falling into a debt spiral or being hit with hidden, compounding predatory fees. This fear is understandable given the history of the short-term lending industry. The key actionable takeaway for anyone looking to use FloatMe is to evaluate your immediate financial reality before signing up. FloatMe is an ideal tool for low-income workers, hourly wage earners, gig contractors, or anyone living paycheck to paycheck who occasionally needs $10 to $50 to bridge a small gap without paying a $35 bank overdraft fee. If you have an active U.S. checking account, receive consistent direct deposits of at least $150 per pay period, and just need a small safety net for minor emergency expenses, FloatMe is built specifically for you. However, if you need significant sums of money to cover major bills like rent or mortgage payments, or if you do not have a steady direct deposit setup, FloatMe will not meet your needs, and you should avoid paying the monthly subscription fee. Used correctly as a micro tool rather than a long-term loan, FloatMe gives everyday consumers a flexible, credit-free way to manage timing mismatches in their personal cash flow.